What is the study population? Anybody have any idea? What is population? Study population. Yes, please. Anybody? Yes, please, Brother Mahfouz or Mustafiz. Anybody have any idea what is study population? This is a very common thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Population means the
Yes,
number
please,
of
please.
people from which we are going to take our sample from our research.
Yes, mashallah, mashallah, mashallah. Very good. Mashallah. The population is the group that the researcher intends to generalize the study results, and not only that, this population can be any size or distributed any geographical location. Okay. It is the population is your the subject from where you want to collect your data, your sample. The full set of cases from which a sample is taken is called the population. Full set. Suppose you want to collect data from ready-made garment industry of Bangladesh. So all garment workers of Bangladesh is your population. Suppose garment workers of worker in Tongi. So Tongi's garment workers garment employees is your study population. What is sample size? How will you determine your sample? There is some techniques by which you have to select your sample. Okay. A sample is a subgroup of a bigger group population. From population, you have to select that. That is why it is called the subgroup, which included the process of choosing of few samples to become the foundation for predicting or estimating a situation, outcome, or fact about the population. Inadequate or excessive sample sizes influence the quality and accuracy of research. Sample size refers to the number of items to be selected from the universe to constitute a sample. If the sample size is too small, it may not serve to achieve its objectives, and too large sample might cause a huge cost. Actually, if your sample is lower than the standard, then recommended one, then it will have some problem. If it is excessive number of samples, more than the standard, more than the recommendation, then that will influence the result as well. So your number of samples should be accurate. So there are so many recommendations for samples. According to Fielding, he says that 30% of total population. Suppose if you have your population is 1 lakh, 30% is 30,000, according to him, but it is used. But according to Casey and Morgan, they have the table. Casey and Morgan table, there is a table, they have the recommendation. You can use that Casey and Morgan table. Most of the researchers, they follow Casey and Morgan table 1970. And G power means if your population is unknown. Do you have anybody what is population is unknown? What does it mean? Do you have any idea? Population is unknown. From where you collect data? Anybody have? Suppose those who use the Fair and Lovely, then Lever brothers are going to study those users of Fair and Lovely, and it is very difficult. Who are the actual? What is the number of population? Number of population? How many people are using the Fair and Lovely? It is very difficult. So that's why it is called the unknown population. So if you have the unknown population, in that case, you have to use the G power. This is the software, software generated tool by which you can find your total number of sample. And Bill Gordon 2004 stated that 600 sufficient for any greater than 50,000. If your population is more than 50,000, then in that case your 600 will be sufficient. You should not go beyond 600. Okay. But according to Umasakaran 2006 recommended that a very big number of sample size such as over 500 of sample could lead problem as prone to committing type 2 errors. Do anybody know what is type 2 error? Anybody have any idea about what is type 2 error? In results, there are different kinds of biased results gives. If you have a huge number of large number of sample, then type 2 error. If you have the very less number of population, then type 1 error. The type 2 error is that suppose someone telling that brother Mustafizur Rahman, he is not a good man. How about is he a good man or bad man? So 80% people they say, oh, one of 100, 80% people he is a good man, and 20% suppose we have collect data for 100 people, and 80 people they say about he is a good man, and 20% talked about he is a bad man. So if it is no, now in this case we can 20%, 20 people say he is not. So we can say it is negligible, because 80% people they are talking about he is a good man. Okay, he is a good man. It is significant amount. But if we collect data from 1,000 people, then the number of people who are talking about he is a bad man, 10 into 200 people are talking about he is not a good man. So it is a significant amount. So when due to your large number of sample size, then insignificant become the significant. That's why you should not go beyond the recommendation of the sample. So you should it would be very limited. You understand?
Yes, sir. Understand.
Is it okay? You
Yes,
got the
sir.
point?
Yes, sir. Alhamdulillah.
Okay. So this is how to sampling technique concept. Census means when all the people you are interviewing or collecting data from everybody, then it is called the census. And sample calls when from the census, from the whole population, you are not taking all of them, you are taking only few of them as sample. That is called sampling. A range of methods that enable you to reduce the amount of data you need to collect by considering only data from a subgroup rather than all possible cases or elements. Okay. Once you determine the sample, suppose for your study according to KZ and Morgan table, your sample is you have to collect sample is 300. Okay. Now, how will you collect the data? Okay, this is called the sampling technique. How will you collect the data? There are two main categories of sampling technique. One is probability random sampling, and another is non-probability sampling technique. So in the probability random sampling, we have four types of random sampling: a simple random, systematic random sampling, stratified random sampling, and cluster sampling. And non-probability random sampling is convenience, judgmental, quota, snowballing. These are the non-probability random sampling. Let's see what is the difference. Suppose in probability sampling, in simple random sampling, Suppose if we have 5 categories of 25, yeah, population is 25, we have to collect data from data 5. Okay, but in the case of simple random sampling, you will 25 population you will take in one basket, and you will take 5 altogether. Then it is called simple random sampling. And systematic random sampling, there is a technique that suppose 2 is the random number, and you will yeah, if you find 2 plus 5 equal to 7, you have to call 7, 7 plus 5, and then 12, then 17 and 12. This is called systematic random sampling. All are valid and stratified as random sampling. You have to select samples from each strata. But suppose this is the 5, this from this 5 you will take one, from here you will take another one, you will take another one, from all these 5, from different categories you will through the lottery, you are selecting one that is called stratified. And cluster sampling, randomly select 3 cluster B, D and E. Within each cluster randomly select one or two elements. The resulting sample consists of population elements 7, 18, 20, 21 and 23. This cluster sampling, two-stage sampling. Then convenience sampling, sometimes we cannot collect data properly if we have some restriction, some problem. Suppose war in Kashmir as well as Ukraine, and in Yemen. So we have war over there. So sometimes it would be difficult to collect data. Maybe in some other cases it is restricted, or it is difficult to collect the probability sampling. Then we go for the non-probability sampling. Here the convenience sampling. In the case of convenience, to whom it is convenient for the researcher to collect the data, that is called convenience. Judgmental, the researcher make his own judgment for collecting the data, that is called judgmental sampling. And quota sampling, sometimes government give some quotas from that, by using the quota when judgmental or yeah, a quota of one element from each group A to yeah, you have to take from each group, then it is called the quota system or quota sampling. Then snowball sampling. Anybody have what is called as snowballing sampling? Snowball sampling. Do you know what is snowball sampling? Anybody have any idea, brother? Hello. Maybe
No,
you are
sir.
exhausted, right?
No, sir.
Huh?
I don't have idea about this.
Okay.
Sir,
Snowballing sampling, sometimes what happened? It is very difficult to access to the respondents. So somehow you take the recommendation from someone and go and interview them, and after that you are talking to them, the respondents, that do you know anybody in your field who will give the data to me? Then he will recommend to others, oh, I know someone, if I request him, he will give the data. So in this way, when then you go to the second one, and you request to the second one, do you know anybody, do you recommend anybody, can you request him? Like this, when you collect the data, that is called snowball sampling.